welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School. Today we're going to have a look at the first solo for Sultans of Swing. So just before we get into it, there's the music on this one's quite small. I've done my best to sort of make it fit into my editing software, but if you want a free PDF with all the notes to follow along, head to the first link in the description, and that's a link to the Facebook group where you can download it for free. Completely free, don't want anything from you, but it might just help you in this lesson. Anyway, let's get into it. So, we're going to start by bending the 8th fret of the B string, and we're going to bend it 4 times, and on the last time after you've bent it, you're going to bring it back down. Hear how I'm bending? For the first 3, I'm bending up. I'm bending a full step, but then I'm muting it as I come back down. And I pick the first 2 with downstrokes, and then the last 2 with upstrokes. Then I'm playing the 6th fret of the B string, hammering onto the 8 with my ring finger, and then pulling off back to the 6. I then move this index finger down to the 5th fret, play the 5th, hammer onto the 6 with the middle finger, and then pull off again. Get that under your fingers. Now might be a good time to pause. Like I say, you can go to the Facebook group and get a free PDF of this if you want to follow along as well, if you don't want to put your specs on. So that's this point, okay? Bam, 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 bam. Now you see this funny little cross over here. All I'm doing there is I'm touching the string, but not enough to press it. And there's like a little mute that Knopfler does. Now I don't know if he's hitting the guitar or whether he's just muting the one note. I think it's also worth noting he's using his fingers for this. I'm a plectrum player, so I'm going to play this with a plectrum. And if you're new to this sort of style, I'd advise, and you're used to using a plectrum, I'd advise that you do as well. It'll just sound first, and then you can always try and, once you've learned how to play it in your preferred manner, you can then start to experiment. So I'm going to... You hear how I've picked that D string, but there's no... I'm just touching the string, but not enough to get a note, just enough to get that sort of almost like cluck. Following that, we've got an arpeggio, which goes 7, 6, 5 on the D, G and B strings, and I'm using ring, index, middle. It's an A major arpeggio. 7, 6, 5, all with downstrokes. Then I'm going to roll the finger over to the index finger over to the 5th fret to catch the high E string. And that arpeggio continues. I'm then going to take the ring finger, I'm going to play the 9th fret, and then the 12th fret. And can you see how I've used the ring finger for both the 9 and the 12? And we bend the 12 when we get there. And once you get it up there, slowly bring it back down before we go to the next arpeggio, which is in the next slide. So everything there so far. Now would be a good time to pause. If not, slide number 2. So now we're walking down a D minor arpeggio, which is 10, 10, 10, 12. And I'm doing all upstrokes, and can you see how I'm rolling the index finger through all 3 of those 10s? And then ring finger on the root there on that D, 12th fret of the D string, which is a D note. That's a really good exercise between the previous arpeggio and this one. Because it sort of starts here and then finishes on the same string, but like significantly higher up the neck. It's a good finger exercise. So anyway, back on task. 10, 10, 10, 12, and then with the index finger I'm going to play fret 10. Then I'm going to reach over with my ring finger. You can use your pinky if you want, but to be honest, I think the ring finger is the better choice here. 13th fret of the B string. Then the index finger is going to creep into the 11th fret, and you're going to hammer on between 11, 13, and then back to 11 with the ring and with the index and ring fingers. And then we're going to finish with a 10. These last 3 notes over here, let's just shelve those for a second and just work on the first bit. Yeah. If you're ready for the next bit, I'm going to take the middle finger, I'm going to play the 11th fret, I'm then going to do a slight position shift to 9, pluck the 9, and then with the index finger slide into the 10. It's one of those sort of seems a little bit insignificant, but getting it in the right place is actually quite tricky. Let me play all of this for you. Okay, pause if you need to. If not, let's go to the next part. Right, so this has got like the pedal steel licks in it, which is pretty cool, but I really want you to take your time with these and learn how to do them properly, otherwise it's going to sound like a sack of spuds, okay? Take the ring finger, and I want you to bend the 12th fret of the G string so much so that it sounds like a 14. So you're doing a full bend. And after you've bent it, take your pinky and put your 13th fret underneath it. Down, up. And can you hear how I'm almost bending this note so that it sort of creates a little mini chord with this one? We're going to do 2 of those. Well, in fact, we're only going to do 1, actually. Then we're going to do the 12 again as if we were going to do it a second time. But then I'm going to roll this pinky down to the 13th fret of the high E, pluck that, and then go to the B string. See, this is where Knotfler really sort of breaks the mould in that sort of era of guitar playing, because this is all straight from country and western. And can you hear how I spilled over into this next bar here? I bent that note again, but then brought it down. And then we're going to finish that with 2 10s. So let's just work on these first 2 bars first. Let's shelve this and we'll come back to that in a second because I've got a cool little way around that which I think will really help you. This. Bend the 12, 13 on the B. Bend the 12, 13 on the E followed by 13 on the B. Bend the 12, let it down, and then set to 2 10th frets with your index finger on the same string. Pause if you need to. That's another little chunk. If you're okay, we're going to take the second finger from there. I'm going to slide the second finger into the 13th fret. Then I'm going to play the 12th fret, 13 on the B, and then 12 again. Now, let's not worry about the hammer-on just yet. Let's just look at that shape. Now, when I see that, I'm seeing like a little D chord shape. You know, the triangle of a D chord. I'm seeing that there. And that when I'm coming from lower down the neck and I'm coming up completely into a new part and a new section, I'm looking for shapes that are tangible that I can latch onto, and that's one of those. But the crux of it is starting with the middle finger, okay? And I'm alternate picking that as well. You'd think I was treating it like an arpeggio, but I'm not. Down, up, down, up. And after you've plucked that 12, you're going to hammer onto the 14 with the ring finger on the G, and then pull off again to the 12. But it's not a trill like the others. It's sort of in the same time as the others. So you've quite a lot of time to get there. And then with the middle finger again, we're going to catch that 13th fret on the B string. That's a C. We're going to play that twice. If I glue these 2 bits together, it's so fluid, it's bloody lovely. There's loads you can take out of this. It's really good for you, this stuff. Pause if you need to. If not, with 2 more slides and then we're there, okay? So, slide number 4. Oh, he says, come on James, use your brain. There we go. Yeah, if you played the B string, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? So, right, we're going to play the 13th fret on the B string. We're going to bend it up. We're then going to mute it and bring it back down. Bend it a second time and then bring it down. So you're bending it, bring it down, bend it, lay the note down. Yeah, on the second time I brought it down. And then you're gonna bend that 2 more times. So I'm stopping just before the 10 here. Now I will put some vibrato on there. I don't know if Knockville is doing that, to be honest, actually. I'm not hearing it in the record, but I think that's just one of my habits creeping in. The 10 is actually part of the next lick, okay? So we're going to play the 10 with the index finger. Now for this bit, I'm thinking D minor pentatonic, first position. Okay, so I'm playing the 10th fret of the B, and then I'm pulling off between the ring finger and the index finger on the 13 to the 10. I then roll the finger over to the 10th fret of the B, and then go back to the root. I bend the 13, and then do the roll again. So that's the last note of the second bar and everything in bar 3. And then spilling over into the final bar, you've got 12 and 10. Now, when I was learning this one, it was a little bit more difficult for me, simply because I'd learned other pentatonic sequences which didn't do that rolling thing. So it was a good exercise for me to come back to and look, actually. It's been a while since I played this one. Sorry, I forgot about the last two. Right, this is really interesting over here. A lot of people get scared about this part of the solo down here. Spend the time getting this little arpeggio, and the next 2 bars are an absolute doddle, okay? So I want you to take your middle finger and I want you to play the 8th fret of the A string, and then rather than trying to cram another finger in, I want you to do that rolling technique that we keep talking about, yeah? Index finger on the 7, and then pinky on the 10 and go back to the 7. Da, 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 da. That is a great exercise. Even if you pause the video and just do that a dozen times, it's really going to help you for later on. And I'm going down, 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 up, down. Tie it in with everything else in this slide. You've got... Sorry. If you don't start that with your middle finger, you're not going to get there in time. Pause the video if you need to. If not, final slide, we're getting there, guys. Now this next bit, take the pattern that we've just done, kick it up 2 frets. The first 3 notes are the same pattern, but what you're going to do is you're going to catch one of the notes from the major scale on the way up. So you're going to go 10, 10 with the middle finger, rolling it. Index finger on the 9. Then you've got 10, 12. And then on the way back down, you're going to go 10, 10, 9, 10, 12, 10, 9, 10, 12. So you see how you're sort of meandering on this G string for a little bit. I think it's also worth mentioning these first 3 notes are a triplet. So he does rush through them a little bit quicker. So you go. Practice those two in situ. Again, if you have the tab from the Facebook group, that's really going to help you because you'll be able to see both of them under your nose at the same time. Following that, after you've gone, you're going to go back 2 frets and play the lick that we played in the previous slide. The only difference is we pull off this time between the 10 and the 7. So you've got. Pause the video and work on those. I think that's the most challenging part of this, is being able to get there in time. That's what I found practicing it over the past couple of days. We're here now. We're nearly there, folks. This is the sort of like outro. This is the sort of back end of it before it goes back in. Before it goes back into that bit. So we're gonna play 5 5 7 5, starting on the D and then moving to the G. 5, then roll the finger. There's loads of this rolling the finger over. It's great exercise for this. So 5 5 7 5. Then we're going to do that sort of pedal steel thing again, where we're going to bend the 7th fret on the G with the ring finger, and I'm going to use the pinky underneath. So I'm bending it, then get the pinky on the 8, and then bring that back down. I'm then going to play the 5th fret on the G, back to the 7, bend it up, bring it back down. And if you've done your job right, should go back to that bit. So, I hope that was helpful. It's a bit of a slog, is that one. There's a lot in it, but there's a lot of really good techniques surrounding arpeggios. We spend a lot of time thinking about scales and not arpeggios, and I think that's where Mark Knopfler differs from us mere mortals, is we think about scales and shapes as opposed to arpeggios and how that fits. The harmony behind Sultans of Swing is really interesting, because that A chord should be an A minor technically if you're staying within the key of D minor, but it's not, it's A major, so that opens up loads of harmonic possibilities as you get more sort of comfortable as a guitar player playing out of the minor pentatonic and branching out into other things. That's such a cool exercise and teaches you a lot. So let me know in the comments if you want me to have a look at solo number 2. Let me know how you get on. Go to the Facebook group if you've got any questions. If not, I'll see you next week for another guitar lesson. Thank you so much.